I am sitting here getting ready to talk to someone who is a former staff member of Catholic Charities. Y'all know we've been up Skyline. We've been protesting the conditions up there. And for those people that don't know, the Department of Human Services is under contract with Catholic Charities. They have Catholic Charities under paid contract. So a lot of the hotels and the shelters that DHS has, Catholic Charities is actually the organization that oversees a lot of these shelters and these hotels. Okay, so I'm going to put the phone. I have her on the phone right now, and I'm going to put it right here so y'all can hear what she's saying. Okay. And so when you're ready, you can just start when you're ready.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. Just giving everyone a heads up and a briefing. I was a former employee of Catholic Charities. We definitely cover the hypothermia sites, the Hep B sites, Skyline, Fairfield Inn, all the sites all over the city. Within the last 2 years, especially since COVID hit, I have actually seen and endured the poor living conditions of the clients. There were several clients that had been assaulted, hurt on the facility. Things have been swept under the rug due to the fact that Catholic Charities also has a contract with the security companies. There's a lot of poor conditions for the clients that have disabilities or mental health illnesses that weren't addressed and properly taken care of. The food, oh gosh, the food that was fed to the clients, yes, it was contracted by Henry's and one other company. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it was horrible. It wouldn't be anything that any of us would eat. And when staff would complain to the on-site supervisors, the HR supervisors, nothing was done. There were several incidents where clients were assaulted by actual Catholic Charity staff and the temp agency staff. And when it was time to do the UIR reports, we were told not to put certain verbiage, certain names, don't put what the client reported because fear of losing the contract. So
hold on, can I back you up? I don't know if people heard that, but she just said that when things would happen at the shelters and some of the shelter residents would report it to the staff, the staff was told when they would write out the incident reports not to put certain information in those reports because it would make Catholic Charities look bad. And Catholic Charities did not want to lose the contract that they currently hold with the district. Correct?
Correct. Because we will have to do a URR report. If anyone wanted to click in and see, it's actually open to the public. You just go on DHS website and it says URR, and you can put if it's a drug overdose, assault, whatever it was going on with that client. Mm-hmm. And then they would ask you to put the narrative. And the way I was taught, you're supposed to put what was reported to you, what you observed yourself, not hearsay. And when it came time to do those things, once we would do it, we would have to let the supervisor see it first. And they would say, oh, no, don't put that. Take that out. You can't put this. Don't send that, because those get sent directly to DHS. Mm-hmm. So that was often done. We were told to erase pictures and stuff of the clients. I know it was a client that was assaulted by a staff member who ended up in the hospital. Wow. We were told not to provide certain information. Which I don't think is correct or legal, because legal actions definitely should have been taken. Mm-hmm. But even up until there was a recent assault over in the Greenleaf area, and that was swept under the rug, even as me not being employed, because a lot of the homeless population I work with, because they are family as well, Nothing was done. The people were not arrested. He was beaten. He was tased. It went viral on Instagram, and nothing was done.
So you said there was a recent incident at Greenleaf. We know the Greenleaf is closed, but before they closed,
Right.
where a
Correct.
shelter resident was assaulted by staff and it went viral. And you're basically saying that nothing happened to any of these security officers who were involved with tasing him and beating him.
No, and actually, one of the Catholic Charities employees was taken to one of the listed locations, one of the offices, and she was told what to write her UIR in order to keep her job.
Wow. So, as it relates to that incident.
Correct. Because the client was actually chased out of the facility across the street. So, legally, we're not supposed to leave the facility. If the client leaves, no matter what happens, that's what MPD and the officers are for. The actual staff left the facility and chased him down. The man was screaming, "I'm having seizures, help me, help me." And he wasn't helped. He was jumped.
Wow. So a group of security officers jumped this resident at Greenleaf Shelter.
And I do know he has mental health issues as well, but he also had medical conditions. They could have just let him leave. You didn't have to follow him to the street.
So they chased him out, jumped him. Somebody filmed it, and these people still got to keep their jobs. Wow.
Wow. I mean, it happens. That's like all the time. Like I said before, I've watched people be discriminated. A lot of the transgender community, a lot of the lesbian, bisexual, a lot of those people have been discriminated against. They're not treated fair, and it's not right because homeless is homeless. There is no face of homeless. There is no gender, no color, or anything like that. But definitely discrimination.
And when you say discriminated against, you're talking about the people who came to Catholic Charities who were seeking shelter, basically, who were homeless and who were seeking shelter. You witnessed staff at Catholic Charities basically discriminating against certain people who were gay or who were transgender.
Yes, when they come in, because the way I was trained, when they come in, if they identify as a woman, you accept them and you do their intake as a woman. But if it was someone that may have been a homophobic, curious, I don't know what the issue was, we fool. I've watched Catholic Charities staff sign in a bed sheet full of clients, and this was reported to several supervisors, calling in false counts just to say they were full, and they were not clients there. We could have assisted people when the van was dropping them off, and it did not happen.
So, hold on, I'm going to stop you, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but I really want people to digest what you're saying. She just said that she witnessed staff basically falsifying the numbers. They would say that it was a certain amount of people in the shelter every night, when in reality, it was nowhere near that number. And do you think they were also doing this so that they can maintain the contract that they had with the district?
Well, I'm almost for certain that that's one of the cases, because when I actually spoke with someone in HR, I later learned that at some point Medicaid does get billed for the count of people that are there. So I do believe they wanted the district to believe that this contract was being fulfilled by these people, but that in fact was not true.
So they get paid by Medicaid per head, basically, like per person.
Right, because everything is done on a bed sheet, and it gets put in by HMI. I think it's called HMI, some sort of system, but every client has a number. So when you do the intake, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the intake package, but they ask, do you have TAN, if you have SNAP, Social Security, any type of, what do you have? Of course, if they don't have it, then there's nothing you can get. But that head count is important, because when Henry's brings food, say the facility is for 50 people, they're bringing food, water, sodas for 50 people. Then I'm not going to talk about the quality of food because it's poor, but
wow,
it's to keep the head count going.
Okay, so they basically lying about the numbers, y'all. They are falsifying the numbers because they get paid per homeless person that stays there. Basically, they get paid from Medicaid. So what she's saying is that a lot of times the staff will falsify the numbers, and they would say it's 80 people in here tonight, when in reality it might have only been 40 or 50 people.
Probably not even that. I've watched it be 25, and they say the great capacity because no one wants to do the intake. Or I don't like some because just personal things, dumb things.
Wow. on top of the fact that people were getting assaulted. And let me ask you this, and if you don't feel comfortable answering this, you don't have to. Were you all ever instructed by, okay, so when you all were filling out the incident reports for people who were assaulted, were you all instructed by upper management staff within Catholic Charities to leave out certain information?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Wow. So
because supervisors, you have to realize a lot. Supervisors, right? And then the thing is, a lot of the supervisors are related to the staff. So it's kind of who you know type thing. You may have a supervisor that's the sister of just a regular program assistant. So I'm going to cover for her because she's the one who did A, B, C, D and leave certain things out. And then if you're the president of a security officer, well, now when they review the tape, we can't get the tape. There's no footage. They did a lot of things like that.
Okay, y'all. So y'all just heard that she said that they would, when things would happen, they would often the footage and the tapes of different assaults, when residents would report that they were being assaulted, the footage would disappear at the orders of, I presume to be at the orders of the supervisors.
Correct.
Within these shelters and these hotels. Now, right. Let me ask you this, and you may not be able to answer this, but to your knowledge, do you know if the Department of Human Services, DHS, if DHS was aware of any of this stuff that you're talking about now? Do you know if they had knowledge that this stuff was going on?
Well, they would. I'm almost certain they will have to have knowledge because, like I said, if anyone goes to Google right now, you have to submit the UIR on the DHS website. So that's why we were instructed at entry level to send it to a manager and then let them submit it to DHS because they give you a claim number. So it definitely was going to them. That's why the verbiage and everything was so important and what you had to leave out or couldn't put a name because it went directly to DHS. It's no way that it couldn't, and that would be something that would be entered in a daily log. So they were completely aware you could not notify DHS. If an ambulance come, a police officer come, any type of contact comes inside that shelter, you have to do a UIR. That's why I said if you had time, you can look on a website. They have assault, drug overdose, threats, misconduct. Even if someone refuses medical care, we have to notify DHS. It's no way. I mean, if you just don't do it, then you're supposed to lose your job, but by the book, you have to notify DHS.
So do you know if DHS had knowledge that like staff misconduct, that like supervisors were telling y'all to leave certain things out of reports and, you know, different things along that as far as the corruption that was going on within Catholic Charities at these shelters? Do you know if DHS had any knowledge of that corruption?
Yes, I believe so. I don't see how they wouldn't because, like I said, I've reached out to certain people in DHS verbally on my phone and sent things to them like, hey, this ain't right. This is what it is. I spoke up.
Okay, so y'all heard that she said that she reached out to DHS several times while she was working at Catholic Charities, working at these shelters, and, you know, told them, you know, hey, something needs to be done. And I guess apparently, I mean, what was the response? Did they do anything? Did they?
So I think they would go back to the supervisor, and my supervisor would come back to me.
Wow.
Oh, well, you know, da-da-da-da-da. So it was kind of like a circle type thing. But did I see a resolution for the client or anything? No. Because it would just be shut the client up, put them somewhere else, move them here, or, you know, that type of thing. I never saw a resolution. Until this day, I'm still in contact with some clients, and there was never a resolution, no lawsuit, no jail time, no arrest. Nothing was done to accommodate what has happened. And I've seen residents severely hurt, nose broken, you know, just bad.
By staff and security at these shelters?
Yes.
Okay. And I know I'm asking you a lot of questions. I just want to make sure that, you know, people listening can follow, you know, right, and know exactly who we're talking about. And right now, y'all, she's talking about the staff and the security who were employed with Catholic Charities and oversee a lot of these shelters, that they were assaulting residents. She said people had their nose broken, you know, a lot of things that was going on, and DHS was basically looking the other way, and Catholic Charities upper management was basically looking the other way and covering it up and not doing anything about it.
Yep.
On top of the fact that you also said that management was telling you all, the staff, to lie when you wrote certain incident reports and to leave information out of the reports that would make Catholic Charities look bad as an organization.
Yes.
And we talking about a religious organization, y'all. This is just this stuff. Wow.
I mean, I really wouldn't. If I was, I mean, I wouldn't feel bad because, again, like as a staff member, I've watched ways even when staff members have passed away, they won't even approve to buy flowers. They don't send a thank you card. So it doesn't matter with Catholic Charities, race, gender, sex, or anything. It's about the money. Like I said, I even heard the higher man said they're not concerned about losing the contract because nobody wants to bid on it. So that's why Catholic Charities has had the contract for so long. They're pretty confident that nothing is going to change. Mm-hmm. So that's why when I reached out to you, I was hoping something changes. For the 2 years that I've been there, I've seen the same clients come back and forth. And it's not always because it's a mental health or it's a drug use. It's because the system is failing them. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Because they use the mental health piece when it's convenient for them. Mm-hmm. They're not servicing and treating these people like human beings. Because I bet you, and like I say, because I've seen it, they wouldn't want to be in that situation. The way these people aren't treated like they're human. They're not. They're degraded. They're belittled. It's just not right.
Wow. And can you try to speak up a little, because this phone volume is kind of low, but I know you said that the homeless residents at these shelters are often degraded and belittled by staff.
Yes. If someone comes in, clearly if they're homeless, they may not have been able to bathe yesterday or today, or they may come in, but we have donations and soap and things like that. But then when you have staff that is stealing, and then you report that to a supervisor and nothing is done, how do you expect them to feel that if they ask for soap, they're getting cursed out, or they're belittled? I mean, it's just a lot goes on. Catholic Charities receives a lot of donations. Cosmetic bags, purses, clothes. Even when we had the hypothermia shelters, we let people from the streets bring in clothes and stuff up until COVID. The staff's stealing it.
Wow.
Them clients don't get that stuff. Wow. And I've watched the Christmas donations, the everyday donations, just people come in from the community. Just like, gather things and drop a boatload of it all. Mm-hmm. The clients don't see that stuff.
So she said,
and that's actually been reported to several supervisors who they did nothing.
Wow. And I can believe it, because the same thing was happening at Days Inn. We kept getting, before Days Inn was shut down, we kept getting the complaints about TCP. The TCP was stealing, and, the staff was stealing the donations from the residents. So I can believe that that's a pattern. But it's just sad that even the supervisors know. They know about this and they do nothing. And, people who are homeless, they need these things. They need soap. They need, deodorant. They need these things that are donated. Mm-hmm. And it's just messed up that staff would take that from them, and would steal the donations. That ain't right. And I really want to thank you for coming forward and speaking out. And I know that we have to talk some more, offline, away from Facebook. But in closing, do you have anything else that you think, that you would want people to know, as far as, because I know you worked with Catholic Charities for a while. As far as things that you saw, I know you talked about some of the abuse and the assaults that went on. Homeless people were often assaulted and abused by staff and security, and staff and security lied about it. And I know you talked about the fact that they would falsify documents, and they would often falsify the count as far as how many people were actually in the shelter on any given night, because they get paid by Medicaid per head. So a lot of times they made it look like the shelter was at capacity when in reality it wasn't. I know you talked about the discrimination that a lot of the residents had to face when they would come in to do intakes. Staff would discriminate against people who were gay or who were transgender. And I'm just going over this for the people who may just be joining, to let people know what we've covered so far. But in closing, if there's anything else you think that's important that people really need to know and you feel comfortable sharing that, I definitely would want to hear it.
Really at this point, I just encourage anyone, whether you're staff, security, client, speak out, because you can advocate for yourself. If anyone does want to directly help them, I would definitely advise them to go through your program, or if you see a homeless person, help them directly yourself. Don't bring anything to the shelter or give it to any staff member, because you could be just giving it to someone who really doesn't need it.
Wow.
If you see the person yourself that you want to give it to, like I often go down 2nd and D, and I just open my car and let everybody come to my car and let them pick what they want. Don't take it to the shelter, because these people are not getting it. If you have any type of information, resources, give it to them directly. I know it may be a little odd because they're strangers, but they do appreciate your help. Everybody is not just mental health or on drugs or doesn't want to get out their situation. Some people just need someone to hold their hand or guidance to help them get out the situation.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. My experience as an advocate, I've seen that. I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. And again, I appreciate you for, coming forward and for reaching out to me, and just for, coming forward and speaking up with what was going on, and for being one of the good ones, for actually trying to make a change and trying to, shed light on what actually goes on behind closed doors as far as Catholic Charities. And just my last question would be, can you tell us, because I went over it earlier, but I'm not familiar, do you know because I don't know all of them, all of the shelters or hotels that Catholic Charities currently oversees? I know it's Skyline, Harriet Tubman, and I think it's a couple more.
It's the one on New York Avenue, Adams Place, Rhode Island Avenue, the Malamba House. Nativity just closed. They had Greenleaf, Sherwood, Banneker. Who else is it? I think I say Harriet Tubman. They're at Pat Handy now. Pray for those people every day. And I think it may have been a few more, but the hypothermia ones are shut down now. Mm-hmm. So it's only the main ones. But yeah, those are the. Oh, and then it was the Fairfield Inn and the Skyline. Yeah, and what's the one next to it?
The Arboretum.
There you go. Yes, that one. They don't have the Holiday Inn no more, I don't think. But yeah, they have all those.
Yeah, we've been getting some complaints about Fairfield recently about the food, and a couple of the people at Skyline when we were there told us that when they told us that they came from Fairfield Hotel, and they said that what DHS just did at Fairfield is that DHS took all of the people who can live independently, basically, and put them in Skyline, and then they left the ones who have severe mental health problems and things like that. They left them at Fairfield, and they just dogging those people out over there.
I can believe that, because initially at Fairfield, they were sending all those people to Arboretum. That's why no one from Catholic Charities wanted to work at the Arboretum, because those people were more dependent. I mean, yeah, they depended on the staff to do more, like, come in, help them, or the ones who knew what was going on. So I can believe that, because at first they were getting shifted from Fairfield to Arboretum.
Wow.
And DHS was actually there when we were there as well.
They were at Arboretum?
They were at Arboretum and at Fairfield, because you do know it was Catholic Charities, DHS, and a couple temp agencies, Tri-Source, and I forget the other one, but it was a couple people there, but DHS was there, because they were the ones that were doing the intakes, that even accepted the clients coming in from the streets.
Wow. So
they do the actual intake.
I'm pretty sure DHS is aware. We got a lot of complaints too about the food, that the food was making people sick at Fairfield Hotel. Mm-hmm. That food.
It wasn't properly stored, because it's only warmers there. So if you got a cold lunch or something cold or something with mayonnaise, it's just sitting there until it's time to go up. You feed it, breakfast 6 a.m., lunch around 12, dinner around 6 or 7. So for those hours, it sits right there in the main entrance, just sitting. Anything that's warm going to warmers, but other than that, that's why we didn't have milk often. Only the Arboretum had milk because we have to sit. We didn't have a kitchen to store it.
Wow. This stuff, I can't. Yeah. And a lot of the residents at Skyline who came from Fairfield told us that the exact thing that you saying as far as the food. They told us the exact same thing. Everybody can't be lying. And this is what I keep trying to tell DHS. But again, I definitely appreciate you talking to me and, just helping the advocates to shine a spotlight on the things that are going on here. Because, this stuff, I'm just at a loss for words. Like this, so many people need to lose their jobs at this point, and it needs to be accountability.
But really you have to be mindful that what they're doing when they leave one agency, they just go to the next. So even if you were to get them from Tri-Source or Catholic Charities, then they get hired by DHS. It's only a revolving door because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And everybody is in a big circle right there. Yeah. Just being honest with you. It won't even you can say, okay, hey, we got this cleared up, this out the way, but then they go apply somewhere else because they know someone, they're right back in it.
Yeah, and that's what we got to do. We got to dismantle these cliques. It's sort of like a cliquish mentality in DC government. And we got to dismantle that. And that's not going to be easy. I've been working on that for years. That ain't easy, but we got to do it. And we definitely appreciate people like you who, speak up, both residents and staff. When residents and staff come forward and speak out, because that takes a lot of courage and bravery to do that. So I definitely appreciate you talking to me.
No problem.
And so I'm a end the interview now, y'all, but you and I will definitely talk further. I'll probably give you a ring tomorrow if you're free.
Okay, that's no problem.
So that I can follow up with you and on some things.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your morning now.
I know. You do the same.
Bye-bye. Okay, y'all. So for the people that's just joining, that lady who I just talked to, I don't know how well y'all can hear her, but she worked at Catholic Charities for a couple of years. She's a former staff member of Catholic Charities, and she wanted to come forward, and she did, and she shared a lot of information about a lot of the things that she saw working at Catholic Charities and working at a lot of these different shelters and these different hotels. And this stuff is just really disturbing. And it's time for accountability. I'm just going to say that. It's time for accountability. So that's what we on now. Us popping up at Laura's house, the director of DHS house, it don't stop there. Like it's time for accountability, and all parties involved need to be held accountable because homeless people are being neglected and abused. That's what's going on, and no one seems to care. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Everybody enjoy their night. Please share this live, y'all. Let's spread the word about what's going on with Catholic Charities. Again, Catholic Charities is the organization that oversees these shelters. They are under paid contract with DHS. We got to dismantle these cliques. We got to shut this stuff down. So we got work to do. I'm going to see y'all later.